Thanks, Kevin. I'm actually not going to speak for long because you want to hear from the real experts about the very interesting work that they do. I'm always keen on learning more about some of the work that our colleagues at the City of Calgary and the Calgary Police Service do to keep our community safe every day. And so today I had the opportunity to spend some time with two units, the Tech Crimes Unit as well as the Cybercrimes Unit, and learn a little bit more about what they do. First question, what's the difference? I figured it out. So I had some a chance to spend some time with the Tech Crimes Unit, who really do hardware stuff. So when they seize a cell phone, for example, and they need to extract data from it, we learned about some of the very meticulous work they do in order to do that. One of the most interesting things I learned today is the prevalence of video. Certainly there's a lot of closed circuit video in our community now, much more than there used to be. But in addition to that, there is a lot of witness generated video, cell phone videos and so on, and the work that it takes to actually use those as forensic evidence and to learn more about incidents when they happen. Citizens are certainly playing a different role in crime prevention as well as in dealing with the aftermaths of crime than they ever did before. And I had the opportunity to spend some time with the Cybercrime Support Team, who you're going to learn about today, who are really keen on following up on crimes that happen online or evidence of crimes that happen online and getting some knowledge and evidence of that. But the real thing that I learned today is the tremendous role they play in keeping people safe. Not so much about investigating crimes, but also about preventing them and about helping people who find themselves in dangerous situations, and evidence of that happens online. So it's all very interesting. It's a new world out there in terms of a lot of how we manage crime, and more importantly, how we manage citizen safety. And I hope that you really enjoy learning more about the work that my colleagues at the Calgary Police Service are doing in this area.
Thank you. I just want to thank you all very much for coming today. My name is Ryan Jepson, as was mentioned. I'm the Staff Sergeant in the Cybercrime Support Team. This afternoon, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what the team does, as well as what the Calgary Police Service is doing in relation to cybercrime. So we recognize the need to establish a cybercrime team as early as 2012, and we did so in 2013. The Cybercrime Support Team is a highly motivated group of individuals. Some of these folks have an IT background, some have a formal background in computer science, but mostly they all have a passion with respect to investigations, with respect to the internet, and with respect to cybercrime itself. So their mandate is to support traditional investigations that have an online or internet component to them, as well as support our covert and intelligence operations. As you can see, each officer has a little bit more sophisticated setup than a traditional investigative workspace. The reason for this, they each have several computers with a variety of software and hardware that accompanies it. And the reason we do this is so they can do a multitude of tasks at the same time, and thereby increase their efficiency. As you can see, there's a range of work. As I mentioned, the team supports investigations that have a cyber element, and they do this by utilizing their specialized training and the equipment that we provide them with. These are the individuals in our service who have the know-how and the know-where, I guess, to find the footprints that cyber criminals leave online. They make every effort to trace those footprints back to its source, so we can prosecute individuals. The cybercrime team is supporting all areas of the service with regard to many different types of crimes. As you can see, there's quite a variety there. This includes supporting our frontline officers, our general detectives, as well as our major crime and organized crime investigators. The team was very busy last year, continues to be even busier this year. I just heard today that number is actually up to 137 this year. So we anticipate we'll be hitting close to 300 files by the end of the year. We kind of went with the Field of Dreams concept that if you build it, they will come. So we built the team and they have come. We're supporting, as I said earlier, all areas of the service in this effort. I know it's a lot of text there and some small print. I understand you've been given copies of the presentation, but I just want to highlight a couple of case studies that we worked on over the past year. In this first example, There was an email that was generated that threatened the safety of thousands of citizens in the city of Calgary. This prompted the cybercrime team to utilize all available contacts and resources to determine the source of the email. An individual was subsequently identified as the author of this email, and a search warrant at that person's residence located a number of firearms in his possession. And the result of that file, there was 25 criminal code charges laid, and obviously nobody was injured. Another example of what cybercrime has been involved in is when our public-facing Facebook page received a private message that threatened the safety of students at a Calgary high school. Once we looked after the safety of the students, the cybercrime team identified a suspect, and eventually an arrest was made. And interestingly, in this case, the evidence was located on the person who was arrested that corroborated what we believed was the student's intent to harm other students. It was a 15-year-old boy in that case. In this last example, the cybercrime team was able to help a 13-year-old victim of repeated bullying by identifying an individual that had been sending threatening messages through an online app. The cybercrime team leveraged relationships to identify the person behind these messages, and we worked with our CPS school resource team as well as the school board to identify a grade 6 student who was responsible for this, and that student was subsequently suspended. I just want to say that the Calgary Police Service recognizes the importance of our prevention and education as part of the continuum to our response to cybercrime. So our support team supports the investigative side of it, but we also have, through our community and youth services section, our crime prevention team offers educational presentations on the subject of cyber safety. So we recognize that as a police service we need to support both ends of it. And I just want to take a brief second to mention the tech crimes team that the mayor was able to meet earlier. They work closely with our cybercrimes team. So to separate the two, the tech crimes team, they've been around for longer. They do the forensic end of the investigation, and the cybercrime team does the online part of the investigation. At this point, I'd just like to answer any questions you might have.
How often do you have to respond to kids threatening other kids or saying or bullying other kids online through Instagram, Facebook, and all that? It's pretty common.
It is common. It is becoming more common, and that's why we see at the Calgary Police Service, we see this as a growing phenomenon, growing trend, something that we need to be ahead of the curve. And so we're trying to ensure that we're in a position to respond to these. That's part of the reason for creating the cybercrime team. I don't have a specific number for you as to how many, but I know that we are, and the way these complaints come to us is through a variety of means. Sometimes it comes from the school. Sometimes it'll come through the school resource officer. Sometimes it'll come from a parent. But we just want to be prepared to be able to respond as a police service to these to ensure that the citizens or the kids aren't being victimized.
Now, you said you mentioned something about information sessions or whatever with high schools or schools.
Yeah.
Maybe talk a little bit about that.
So our crime prevention team is the one that provides these educational sessions on cyber safety. And from what I understand, it's not my work area, but from what I understand, it is a presentation that's in high demand, and sometimes they're not able to accommodate the number of requests that they have. But aside from that, aside from the police service, the government of Canada has obviously taken an interest in cyber safety. They've set up a website. We also have capacity through our YouthLink program to do cyber safety lectures. So that's something that's in development right now. We want to be able to respond to that, not just the criminal element of it, but the prevention and safety element.
Is a cybercrime unit or something similar, is that pretty common among police forces in Canada these days, or is Calgary kind of ahead of the curve on that?
I would say we're on the leading edge of that. We've got work to do, but we recognize the need to respond to criminals, not only doing traditional crime, but moving that crime onto the internet. We needed a response to that. So I would say we're at the forefront, but we've got some work to do.
What's the most common cybercrime you guys deal with in Calgary? If there's one or two.
Well, we could go back to that list, and I don't have a number that I could say that we're we see this more prevalently than others, but literally we have responded to traditional crime with an online component in each one of those cases.
And you said you anticipate maybe 300 files this year?
Yeah, I think we're 130. We're on our way close to 300.
And do you see that number increasing in years to come, or?
Based on what I've seen so far, I would think that this would continue to be a crime that police need to have the capacity to respond to. So as we continue to develop our expertise, I think we need to be prepared for an increase in traditional types of crime that occur online, but also those crimes that are uniquely end-to-end online, the phishing, fraud, electronic theft, those types of things.
Is it four investigators currently?
There's 4 investigators, constables, and 1 social media expert. So 5 constables right now and a sergeant.
Any plans to expand or get?
We're always looking at trying to be efficient with the resources we have, and so if we're looking for opportunities where we can potentially reallocate resources and also increase the efficiency of the people that we've got already in place.
Were these people fielded internally or externally?
Internally from the police service.
When you deal with, say, some of the younger kids who may be doing this for horseplay or pranks, when you guys get involved, do they then understand the seriousness of what they're doing?
Yes, I would say that's correct. And in those case studies, we try to show a breadth of examples that are dealing from an elementary school student all the way up to an adult who's threatening public safety. So I would say that the younger kids understand the consequences, and the sooner we can get to them, the better. And I think that message is getting through.